Nasty Women News. I'm Vesper.
And I'm Artemis.
Nasty Women News is brought to you by 99spark.com. Discussion and empowerment for the socially aware. So, one of our topics of discussion today is going to be the firing of Bill O'Reilly and Roger Ailes from Fox News in the wake of their sexual harassment. So, Artemis, you're a certain fan of Fox News.
I'm a fan of Fox News like I'm a fan of getting shot in the head.
Bill O'Reilly and Roger Ailes, they've both been accused of sexual harassment on numerous occasions. Now, this isn't a surprise, this isn't new news. There's always been an atmosphere of sexual harassment at Fox News. If you talk to people women from Fox News, they say, it's not the most comfortable environment. I know this is something that you're really fired up about.
Yeah.
Do you want to kind of take the stand on that?
Yeah. So yesterday, Bill O'Reilly had a talk with Glenn Beck on his show about his firing from Fox News. He said, "It has to do with the destroying voices that the far left and organized left-wing cable doesn't like." That's a direct quote.
Yeah, so basically he's saying, I wasn't actually fired or dismissed or terminated or however you want to put it.
It's the left-wing media is trying to smother him and shut him down because they don't like what he's saying.
And not just him, other people who they don't like what he's saying.
Yeah.
Because liberals are awful.
Yeah. I can't think of anything worse than trying to get people to stop sexually assaulting women. Where the hell do we get off?
I know, right?
It's like, you're a woman. You were born for a reason,
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Get with the program.
How do you feel about the $13 million in settlements that Bill O'Reilly and Fox News paid off to people?
They're always going to try and pay women to shut up instead of actually trying to solve the problem. The problem is that Fox News just lets the men get away with sexually harassing women, and they don't seem to have any interest in actually shutting it down. They just want to sweep it under the rug.
There was a lot of contention supposedly in the Fox News family about actually firing Bill O'Reilly. I know that some members of the family were like, no, we really like him, we should keep him on. And then there were others who were like, no, this is really bad for our image, so we should fire him. Which, yes, you should fire him, but you shouldn't fire him because he's bad for your image. You should fire him because he's criminal.
Yeah.
There's a difference.
Yeah. Republicans are always going on about how we have to keep this nation pure and, Mexicans are coming in and corrupting our country.
And they're rapists.
Yeah, they're all rapists, but I suppose it's fine if white people
Wait, is Bill O'Reilly a Mexican?
I never checked. He might be.
He's been accused of sexual assault.
I don't think he's ever said that he's not. So.
You know who else made an interesting statement that you don't know if you can take him seriously? Stephen Hawking.
Yeah.
He
did.
He's brilliant, right? And he said not directly to Trump, but he said it just as a general, statement, climate change is real and an issue, and if you don't do something about it, it's not gonna get any better.
Yeah, Stephen Hawking has said that we have 100 years to find a new planet before we all die.
I feel like 100 years is almost generous. Because I've seen some predictions that give us between 50 and 80.
Yeah.
Now, I'm sure those are the more extreme predictions. Well, actually, I'm not sure of anything really when it comes to climate change, other than humans have accelerated it astronomically. I'd like to hope that there's more than 50 to 80 years.
I don't plan on having any kids, so I know I'll be dead by then, and you know, that's fine. But I just think like all the dogs on this earth, they're still going to be alive. There's
What about the cats?
true.
What about like all of the animals that are just gonna get screwed over by climate change?
Yeah.
Because humans suck.
And Donald Trump doesn't seem to understand. He thinks climate change is a hoax. If it were a hoax,
Right. Yeah, no, it's a hoax apparently created by the Chinese.
apparently.
And interesting that he should think it's created by the Chinese, because the Chinese are actually one of the world leaders in coming up with solutions to climate change.
Really?
Chinese,
Well, that's why they're trying so hard.
yeah, no, Chinese is well beyond things we have, the programs we have here in the US for combating climate change.
That's because they can't breathe
China's
over
just,
there.
well, yeah, they can't breathe, and their deserts are expanding, forcing their people to like clump up on each other. And so even the Chinese government has been like, okay, we can't deny this anymore. I think it's within the next 200 years, 100 to 200 years, there's going to be a billion people displaced by water, either lack thereof or water just completely destroying their homes and their cities and whatnot. So, I mean, yeah, Stephen Hawking is brilliant, but what does he really know about climate change?
Not as much as Donald Trump, I'm sure. I mean, Donald Trump, the smartest man alive, apparently, has
Yeah.
said that climate change is not real, so who are you going to argue with? He's
Yes.
evidently smarter than Stephen Hawking.
Yeah, I'm not into celebrity families or like celebrity royalty, whatever, pop culture. I don't know. I don't know what the kids are into these days. But that whole like Kardashian Jenner thing going on recently, I noticed one thing that actually did make me pay a little attention to them, because it was so offensive. And you know what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about.
You guys probably all know what I'm talking about, because this isn't a new thing. But it's the Pepsi commercial that Kendall? Is that?
It was Kendall.
Okay, yeah. It was Kendall Jenner did this Pepsi commercial. And in this commercial, you know, you have a whole bunch of protesters going out and like doing this peaceful protest or whatever, and you have these cops in riot gear, I guess, like
Yeah.
standing in front of them to mimic this picture of this woman standing in front of the cops with the riot gear. And so Kendall Jenner, I guess, pretended to be her, and she offered
Yeah.
the police officer a Pepsi, and then it's like, woohoo!
And then everyone starts drinking Pepsi and they
And cheering.
stop
Like-
protesting. So I guess if you are going to a protest or a riot or something, just bring a Pepsi
Yeah, bring some Pepsi.
and it'll all be okay.
But also, the audacity of
Yeah.
her to take that image of that woman and then be like, hey, I could be that woman in a commercial, and it would totally appeal to all these people who are fighting for social justice out there.
Yeah, I don't really understand how she got from A to B. Like, how would she think that people would not be pissed about that?
Also, how did Pepsi think people would not be pissed about
I
that?
feel like they have people whose job it is to make sure, is this going to offend anyone? If so, we probably shouldn't air it.
I mean, like, I feel like the people's job is to offend the smallest amount of people possible. And on that note, we have recently decided that there needs to be a counter term to the term SJW, or bleeding heart liberal.
I will never understand why that's like a bad thing. Like, why is it bad to want justice for all people, regardless of skin color or gender or other factors? Like, why is that so audacious? Isn't that like what America was founded for? For people to be equal? Call me a social justice warrior, I'm sorry. I didn't know that was a bad thing.
So, our term that we have created is USR.
It stands for uneducated scapegoat racist.
Right. And we have some very particular reasons as to why we chose those very, I don't know, strong words.
Think about every person you know that just sits around and blames all of their problems, why they have to pay taxes, on Mexicans. They just sit there and they blame other people for their problem, and it's almost always people of color that they blame. And think about the level of education that those people have.
Or even if they do have degrees, it's still like...
They're just ignorant people.
Yeah.
Like, they might have gone to college at some point, but now they just sit around, listen to like Glenn Beck or Howie Carr news, if you can call that news.
Also, they're just people who look for scapegoats, and, you know, who makes a good scapegoat? Someone who's different than you. Long story short, it's another term for someone who looks for a scapegoat, who's not willing to accept any sort of responsibility for any negative outcome,
Or
be it social, political, economical, personal. It's always someone else's fault. But again, like I said yesterday, and like I will probably continue to say, what do we know? We're just nasty women. And we'll see you next time on Nasty Women News.